Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Lee and today I'm going to be teaching you how to maximize your braking efficiency in different types of corners: low speed, medium speed, high speed flowing corners such as Marcus and Beckett, to difficult technical braking points of low speed hairpins as well. The medium speed chicanes. I'm going to be teaching you a masterclass today on how to cover the basis in all of these types of corners and maximize your potential in lap time. So with that being said, I'm going to be getting straight into the heart of this video and I'll catch you on track. So we are on Bahrain to start off to show the low speed corners and how to maximize them, both in low speed technical hairpins, what are really difficult, and then combined apexes where the braking becomes ever so more difficult. Bahrain is famous for its turn 10 sequence with its double left-hander apex, famous for locking up there in real life as well. Before we get into it, I want to talk about some fundamentals about driving and braking efficiency. And this is to do with the steering wheel as well, because when the steering is applied, braking becomes much more difficult. When you are driving in a straight line and your wheels are pointing in a straight line, your grip is at its maximum capacity. You can see I can hit 100% on the brake pedal and slow the car down relatively easily. When I hit 100% on the brake pedal but I'm turning to the right, I lock up straight away. So general rule of thumb, before we start getting into this and diving into the detail of the braking efficiency, the more that you're turning the steering wheel, the less braking pressure you can apply. And remember that, because you'll see it apply time and time over again, especially in the low speed corners, but in the whole video especially. So now, you can see, we're coming down to turn 1 at Bahrain. Treacherous braking zone, braking at 100 meter board, then bleeding off the brake pressure as we start to turn into corners. You can see I'm 100% brake pressure, then I'm starting to turn in and release the brake pedal. The more I'm turning the steering wheel, the more I release the brake pressure to avoid locking up. Turn 2, or technically turn 4, but realistic second turn on the track, 100% brake pressure, and as soon as I start turning in, I start releasing the brake pressure. We're going to go over this one more time through turn 1 and turn 4. 100 meter board, hit the brake hard 100% and start releasing the brake as I start to turn into the apex. I slightly missed the braking point there and ran a little bit wide, but it doesn't change the technique I applied, so it's still relevant. Turn 4, hit the brake at 100% and then slowing the car down and releasing the brake pressure the further I turn the steering wheel into the apex. So there we have it. That's the first part of braking covered, and I want to get into something a little bit more technical. As I alluded to earlier, turn 10 here at Bahrain is one of the most difficult braking zones on the whole entire calendar. Master this turn and you have a very good chance of nailing every braking point onwards. Coming down, you can see it's double loaded, turning all the time in the braking zone. And when you're turning all the time in the braking zone, it becomes so much more difficult to be able to nail it. Because as I talked about earlier, when you're turning left or right, the more that you apply the steering angle on the car, the less braking grip you have, because that grip is already being used up in a turning force, not a braking force. So with that being applied, we also have to consider that all the way through turn 10 is a braking zone where you're turning to the left. You shouldn't really have the steering wheel straight at any point to be on the ideal racing line. What means it's very difficult to nail this braking zone, more difficult than any other braking zone on the whole calendar, in my opinion. So let's take a look at that. We're approaching the corner slower than we normally would. That must be added, but you can see I don't really get to 100% brake pressure. I do miss my apex, so I miss my braking point. But we're going to try that again, and watch that red bar at the bottom of the screen. I don't really get to 100% brake pressure, and I'm really gentle off the brake pressure, so you can see only getting up to 80% on that indication there, on that example there, and the car rotated and I got off the apex nicely. So that's a really critical rule. Not every braking zone will require 100% braking force. Not every braking zone you can press 100% braking force. So we're going to go over this one more time, and the rule of thumb for this corner actually is the ability to press the brake to 80-90% and not just slam the brake pedal, because if you slam the brake pedal to 100%, you're going to lock up. So this requires some finesse and ability to be able to imagine the grip and to get to that 80-90%. And it really takes that really delicate braking. Think more of it like trying to brake in the rain, where you can't actually reach 100% braking force anyway. So we're going to go through this one more time. You can see I don't reach 100% brake force, and I slow the car down, get it rotated, and get the car off the apex. So this has generally covered the low speed analysis of both hairpins and double loaded apexes such as turn 10 here on Bahrain. The difficulty to nail them is in your technique. We can all hit a brake pressure to 100%, but the delicacy and the precision needed to reduce the brake pressure down to 0% in coordination with the steering percent angle is where the best drivers find lap time over their opponents. Master this and you'll be able to find lap time yourself. A second example is here on Imola. Imola is famous for its medium speed corners and chicanes especially. And the chicanes will require the same technique, and the medium speed corners will require the same technique as we showed in the low speed, but will need to happen quicker as the braking zones are less distant. So you can see, hit the brake to 100%, and the more steering angle I apply, I bleed off the brake pedal. The second chicane is very quick, high speed, very difficult, technical. You can see, turn in, when the wheel's straight, 100%, and as I start to turn the wheel again, I reduce the brake pressure accordingly. The hairpin is much like any other traditional hairpin. Hit the brake pressure and reduce it into the apex. Another medium speed corner coming up here at Imola. You can see, hit 100% brake pressure, then reduce the pressure as I turn the steering wheel into the apex. Very similar to the Bahrain turn 10 here, but flat for the first apex. When the car is as straight as possible, hit the brake pressure and then keep on turning into the apex. The chicane is very difficult, so you want to be hitting the brake pressure on the first apex and rolling off the pressure for the second apex. It's quite easy to lock up when that wheel is combined loaded. You don't really get the wheel straight at any point in the chicane, and that's where it's easy to lock up and run wide, as I just did then. So we're going to go over these examples one more time to keep this video short, compact, sweet, and information-based for you, because I value your time at home watching this video. I don't want to make this video 20 minutes long just for the reasons of ad revenue. I want you to be able to watch this video, take information, and hit the track as quick as possible to deploy the information learned. Coming down to turn 1, wheel is straight. As soon as I start turning, I bleed off the brake again. And we're going to go through turn 2, and that'll be my example done here in Imola. So the second chicane, so turn in, wheel straight, bleed it off, and there we go. And that is how to tackle chicanes. You apply the same technique as a low speed hairpins, turn 10 at Bahrain. Like I say, trail braking happens basically on every corner, so you apply the same technique as you learned in the low speed hairpins, but you just do it quicker. And that's where the difficulty is. Because Bahrain turn 1, there's 100 meters of a braking zone to be able to think about your technique and finesse your technique. Many medium speed corners here on Imola, you maybe only have 50 meters to get that technique correct, to make sure the car rotates into the corner in the most beautiful, delicate way possible to find lap time. Make a mistake in that 50 meters, you could have understeer, oversteer, or miss the apex completely, and this is what makes it more difficult. The higher speed you reach, the shorter the braking zone is, and that's where you really have to think about your technique. And now for a final example, high speed, where the most fun is had, in my opinion. So we're at the home of the British Grand Prix, Silverstone, coming up into Copse Corner. Isn't actually flat out on this year's car, so you can see a lift and a downshift. The lift is really needed in these situations to get the weight on the front axle and be able to rotate the car. If you want me to do a video on weight transfer, weight distribution of racing cars, I'm happy to do a follow-up episode on that, but for this video I'll keep it more simplistic so you can learn as fast as possible. Coming up to Copse, and we're just going to play it back one more time. Watch my green bar at the bottom of the screen, that indicates my throttle usage. You can see I come off the throttle smoothly and apply the throttle smoothly on the exit to keep the car balanced. If I go into this corner and I will come off the throttle abruptly, very quickly, you'll see the negative effect it can have on the car. So you can see, it makes the car a little bit unpredictable. Although it's very difficult to see, it's easy to feel. So if you watch this back in a very subtle motion, you can see I turn in, and for the first 5 meters of the corner turn in, the understeer is here. You can see the car isn't actually turning the way I want it to turn. It just starts turning now, and by chance I meet the apex. This time I'm going to be smooth on the throttle, coming off the throttle and coming back on the throttle. Smooth off the throttle, and smooth back on the throttle. And then you can see what's going to happen is there's going to be less understeer on turning. You can see the car is much more progressive towards the apex, and remember, I did that without actually touching the brake. So Copper Silverstone is always just a lift on this year's game, unless you're driving in the rain, of course. If you can only do a lift and avoid touching the brake pedal in high-speed corners, that is much more advantageous because it's going to scrub off less speed, as a very obvious statement, I know. Now, one of the most difficult, technical, challenging corners in all of racing, Maggott and Beckett. Coming up here, so we're going to be flat, bring the car to the left, flat to the right, dab on the brake to the left, dab on the brake to the right, down the gears. And you can see that'll bring us to the exit of Maggott and Beckett. So we're going to play it back one more time. And really, why we're doing the double brake, nothing more than 30%. You want to just literally kiss the brake pedal, no more than 30% on the brake pedal. Because what you're trying to do is not actually stop the car, you're just trying to rotate the car. And again, I will do a video, if you so want me to, on weight transfer and fully explain this about racing cars and how weight transfer works, but in a very simplistic way to explain it. Again, in turns like Maggott and Beckett's, where you're not reaching anything more than 40% brake pressure, anything lower, your objective isn't to actually slow the car down or to stop the car. Your objective is just to turn the car, and braking anything under 10 or 20% can actually be used as a way to rotate the car. So if you watch really closely, as I'm going through here, I'm just going to play it back. You'll see the car turns when I hit the brake pedal. So you see, when I turn in, the car's turning because I'm using the brake pedal to help turn the car. What I'm going to go through and not actually press the brake pedal through here. I'm just going to lift the throttle. So I brake, I'm not even touching the brake with my foot right now. So I'm just going through here, I'm lifting, I can make the corner, look, I can make both of the corners, and it looks okay, but it's just not as quick. So we come out with a 2.3 second on the delta, on the top right. Of course, we're well off the delta because we're just using default setup, and we're not doing this for lap time right now. I'm just doing this for demonstrational purpose of demonstration. So in this example, we're going to use the brake pedal to help us rotate the car. Again, nothing more than 30% on this brake pedal is critical to remember. You can see rotating the car through beautifully, and we're able to exit with 2.2 seconds on the delta. Albeit, it's only half a tenth advantage, but that half a tenth is worth having. Half a tenth on every corner is a very significant advantage to have indeed. So, that is my high and low of the low speed braking and the high speed sections of the game, of a car, of racing as well. Of course, so many more details to go into, and if you'd like me to, I can do follow-up videos on this. I'm more than happy to. But for now, I want to keep it very simplistic as an introduction to this series, and be able to show you the low speed, medium speed, and high speed, all condensed in a relatively short video for your viewing experience at home. If you think this has been helpful to you, please do let me know in the comments, because I would actually really like to know and how I can improve myself as an instructor, as a teacher, let's say, and do my best to make this as educational as possible for you at home. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have found it informative, helpful, and an addition to your qualities as a racing driver or sim racing driver, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you then. Ciao, ciao.